or served. Is anyone here on behalf of S&S Holistic Services?
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Steve Dennis on behalf of S&S Holistic Services.
All right, you're here as Zoom user, so let me give you a correct name. And then Scott Mauer is here on his claim. And Steve Pianowski is here in the breakout, in the waiting room. All right, let's address the matters we can't address right now. We have S&S Holistic Services versus TAGS LLC. This was set for a discovery hearing for December 29th. Plaintiff has received a judgment against the defendant, and they're attempting to collect on that judgment. They were not able to serve the defendant. I can't read my writing. Your last name is Denvers?
Dennis. Steve.
Dennis, all right. I can't even read my own writing. The poor clerks really struggle with it. Anyway, we can't proceed because we don't have service on the defendant. Address is the old Sturgis Armory building, appears vacant, checked online, permanently closed. TAGS LLC is active and has a resident agent name of Paula Sella, PLCC, Grand River Avenue, Howell, Michigan. Sent a certified mailing to that address and it was not returned. So I will adjourn this at least another 30 days to attempt service. They may have to serve somebody personally through their agent. But we can't proceed with a contempt finding unless we have service of the my note page. Continue at least 30 days to attempt service.
Okay.
You've got an LLC whose resident agent is another LLC. Trying to get through all that is harder than it looks. I'll give you this in just a minute. All right, our process server made diligent effort to do it. Unless you want to pay him to drive to Howell or have somebody in Howell actually serve it. We'll see, but we won't be able to have a hearing today. Sir, you're good to go. And when you do come back to court, I'm asking you to take your hat off.
Oh, sorry, sir.
All right, we'll try more than 30 days from now to attempt service.
Very good.
All right. Mr. Mauer, we're in the same boat in your case.
Okay. I apologize again, Your Honor. I didn't know you could hear me.
I know
Somebody asked
you
if I was
didn't.
broke down. I'm sitting in Harding's parking lot trying to plow snow.
Here we go. This is entitled Scott Mauer versus Jeff Smith and Jenna Smith, 252487. They weren't able to serve either defendant, which is a surprise. They live at the same property on Thompson Lane. It didn't seem like they'd be very hard to serve, but I'm not sure why they weren't able to perfect service. Certified mail came back, so we're gonna have to do personal service.
Okay. So is that I have to have a server
Yes,
serve them?
defendants failed to appear, declined to accept certified mail. Will need personal service. Which shouldn't be that hard to do. This is where the work was done. It's where they live. But we're gonna continue at least 30 days. How deep is the snow?
Not too bad. It's pretty drifted. It's kind of letting up now. It was snowing pretty good while I was in the waiting room, but it's not too bad. Roads aren't too bad.
We'll try this again probably in late January, but for now they have to get personal service on the defendants, and then we'll do it again.
So again,
Contact the clerks. Contact the clerks. They will tell you what you need to do, but we'll get Sergeant Morse or some other competent server to serve them. And we'll have a hearing once they've received notice of the proceeding. So I'll let you get back to work, but we aren't going to address your case here today.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. I will go ahead and reach out to the clerks right away, or should I wait till tomorrow?
Yes. No, you can wait till tomorrow.
Okay, I will give them a call in the morning.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that leaves 3 cases. And sometimes that happens. We're trying to put 22 pounds of sand in a 5-pound bag. We've got 3 complicated cases that are left. Lindsay Metzger versus Samantha Terry and Demetrius Ruffin. They're both here. Mr. Ruffin's fallen asleep. This is boring, but could you unmute your microphone?
Yeah.
Miss Metzger, could you turn your camera on, please?
Yes, sir. Hold on one second. There you go.
All right, we've got both parties in that case. We've got both parties in Bittner and Pianowski. Mr. Pianowski is here at the waiting room at the courthouse. We do have another discovery case. Which is Daniel Schumann versus Greg Meyer. In that case, we did have a default judgment on behalf of Mr. Schumann on September 29th in the amount of $2,922.51. Plaintiff did a subpoena for Mr. Meyer to appear here today to provide information on his ability to pay on this debt. He was personally served with a notice to appear, and he has failed to appear.
Yeah.
Is anyone here on behalf of Greg Meyer? Mr. Schumann, have you had any contact with him?
No, I have not since the date before the initial hearing. During those 30 days, he made no effort to contact me or the landlord of the park about the issue.
He's in contempt of court because he has failed to appear pursuant to a lawfully personally served subpoena. We don't have a debtor's prison. You can't go to jail for not paying a debt. However, when you get a subpoena, it's a court order. It's not a birthday party invitation. And when you ignore it, you're in contempt. You can go to jail for that. I'll do a bench warrant for Greg Meyer. Bond is $1,000 cash only. May be applied to the debt. If he's served with the bench warrant, he posts $1,000 bond, it'll be applied to the debt and we'll schedule the discovery hearing. If he's arrested and he can't post a bond, he'll sit in jail until such time we can have a hearing.
Okay.
So I want you to contact the clerks. This is small claims court. You got some work to do yourself to do the bench warrant. But if anybody knows Greg Meyer of Cato Lane, Sturgis, who are doing business as, I can't remember the name of his company, needs to contact the court or he's subject to being arrested shortly in lieu of $1,000 cash only bond.
All right.
All right.
I would have to call the clerks about the bench warrant.
Yes, that would be my suggestion.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Now we're down to 2 cases. And one is a $7,000 claim and a $7,000 counterclaim. That's Bittner and Pianowski. We'll come back to that one in a minute. But let me tell all of you who are here for small claims court. My name is Judge Middleton. I'm the district judge here. I took over Judge McManus's bench 24 years ago. The rules are pretty much the same as they were back then, although the amounts have changed. In small claims court, you can sue for up to $7,000. Neither party is allowed to have an attorney. There's no formal record being made in small claims court. And there's no appeal. Any decision made here today is final. Either party has the right to ask to remove the matter from small claims to the general division of the court, where you can sue for up to $25,000, have a lawyer, have a right to appeal. We had a case this morning where that had happened. The defendant removed it. Anyway, once we begin here, any decision is final. Ms. Metzger, you understand?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Terry, you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ruffkin?
Ruffin, yes.
All right, I'm going to ask each of you, Ruffin, if you would all please raise your right hand. Do you all swear and affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
All right, the defendant lives in Florida and she rented a property in Sturgis. And it looked like a nice property, but it looked like it kind of got trashed. The plaintiff's claim is for $6,000. Let me get. Plaintiff claims that there was a tenancy for about a year, October 1st of 24 through October 1st of 25, at 2101 Cottage Street. They left the property in damaged condition. They removed a built-in double oven, and the pictures are hard to look at.
I know, I apologize.
Detached, it took the matching upper and lower cabinets, drawers, leaving the kitchen layout incomplete and damaged. Multiple windows and screens were broken. The property was filled with excessive trash and debris requiring professional cleanup. I'm seeking reimbursement for the cost of cleanup, repair, and replacement of the removed and damaged items. Is that correct, Ms. Metzger?
Yes, sir.
All right. I read these last week and then I read them again this morning to try to refresh my memory on them. Ms. Terry, what's your position, Mr. Ruffin?
Your Honor, Ms. Metzger rented us the home. She was supposed to buy a new oven because that oven didn't work. Ultimately, we had to replace it. She was aware. She agreed. She never paid me back for it. She sent me an email that stated that she was sending somebody to paint or do some work to the outside of the house, paint the outside of the house, which had been done before we moved in and had been done a couple times because it kept flaking. The pictures that you see, she did send to us, but she didn't give us an option to do anything with it. We had both been working. The tire was removed immediately. It was just sitting outside the garage. We had took it out of the back of the truck. It was removed immediately. She threw away the rest of the cabinet, so we couldn't put it back around the oven. We paid for the oven to be installed. We paid for everything to be around it. We paid for plumbing that she was supposed to pay back that she never paid back. Like, it was just a nightmare renting from her. So this is really a bogus claim. There wasn't any windows broken when we moved out. There wasn't excessive.
All right, well, let's back up. There's probably enough nightmare to go around. Mr. Bittner and Mr. Pianowski, welcome to Small Claims Court. This is going to take us a while, but I spent about an hour arguing about $76. All right, Ms. Metzger, let's take your testimony. Why do you believe they owe you $6,000?
Your Honor, this claim is for a tenant caused property damage beyond normal wear and tear. While Demetrius and Samantha were tenants at my property, they removed and discarded the built-in stove.
Yeah, well,
and
let's
caused-
add up the numbers. Let's see how you came to $6,000.
Sure. Are you wanting me to do that, or you didn't know if you're going to read something? The
Well-
$4,000 was quoted from my contractor to clean up the remains of the cabinet that was just discarded outside by the back door of the kitchen. That's what one of those photos is. That was the built-in part of the oven.
Okay, so $4,000 of this is for the removal of the cabinet and the oven.
Well, the oven alone cost $2,200 and it was in perfect working order when they moved out. I was not aware that they had replaced until after they had done so. And they were actually wanting to purchase
All right,
the
well,
property.
slow down a little bit.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
said the oven was in working condition when they moved out.
Absolutely.
Um,
I mean, not when they moved out, when I moved out. I apologize.
All right, when they moved in is what you meant to
Yes.
say.
Yes.
All right, so the oven, now there are some pictures before they moved in. Your dog's in them. He looked happy to be there. But everything looked clean and neat and a nice looking kitchen and a double oven. You're saying at the time they moved in on October of 24, that oven worked.
Yes, sir.
Did they ever tell you that it did not work?
No, I was notified on my way to Las Vegas months later that it was for me not to worry because they had already removed it and got somebody by the name of, his name was Logan, a child that's going to school to be an electrician to install it. Unfortunately, when I came after many attempts to go inside of my own home, I was denied until they moved out. That's when I had unfortunately found the replacement that they gave was on 2x4s, not built in, and the door to the kitchen barely even opened. It scraped against the oven because it was too big for the area. They did try to replace, but at the same time, the built-in part of it is gone, and I had to replace it after they moved out because that one didn't work when they moved out. And I know that the previous oven worked because they just discarded it in my home after they left. It was still in the home. So
All right,
I
well, let me see
actually,
if I can screen share here.
go ahead.
All right, so there's a fundamental difference. Your testimony is that the stove worked when you got it, they rented it, they removed it without your consent, made it look like that unsightly thing that was there.
Yep.
Her testimony under oath is you knew it was broken and recommended the installer to do the installation, and she had him do it, and then you knew she did it. So what's your response to that?
That's 100% false. And not being able to find the unit in the same size, I did. And that's why that quote is for $2,200. And that's why I was so upset, because they're not cheap units to replace. I would never allow someone to take the integrity of my kitchen apart to replace with something, even if it was more expensive, but one that didn't fit into the space to begin with. Those units are about $2,200 to $2,600 because it's a 24-inch unit and it was replaced with a standardized size. That's why it didn't fit.
All right, so $4,000 is the removal of the stove and the cabinet. Where's your other $2,000?
So the 4,000 is really mainly for the outside. That's from my contractor, Travis, cleaning up all of the debris outside. I had to get a trailer to remove not only all the weeds and all of the stuff that they had out there, but cleaning up the property, getting it ready for
I didn't see
resale.
$4,000 worth of damage in those pictures. I
That's
saw
just
some
the,
things that looked kind of shabby, but
yeah.
maybe there's more that I didn't see, but I didn't see $4,000 worth of damage. Let's
Yeah, the
find
amount
your,
Yeah, I hope that you have everything, but the amount requested is just based on the actual replacement cost and the contractor invoices. These are definitely not estimates or speculation.
well, I'm looking for, I don't actually have paper copies of these small claims cases. They're all electronic. I have to go on a scavenger hunt to find what I'm looking for. I'm looking for your, all right, there's the 24-inch double electric wall stainless steel, 2,378. Did you actually purchase that?
No, not yet. No, right now I have an
And
apartment size oven in there just so the door could open properly.
all right, then you have Witterlock Property Solutions, $4,000, October 3rd of 25. Clean yard and backyard peaks paint, 1 times 1,000. Side peaks paint. That's not theirs. Paint materials, roof ridge materials, $4,000. So that's cleaning up the yard and paint the back peaks. That's not $4,000 of damage that they're responsible for.
No.
So how much are you asking for the cleanup?
So the contractor, Travis, he had basically quoted me just $1,000 for the weeds and all of the stuff out there. And then I had him paint an additional because I was trying to sell the house. But then I really need the oven to be replaced, and then I need to fund the contractor to install it properly and make it look as best I can.
All right. All right, Miss Terry, Mr. Ruffin, this is your chance to tell your side of the story. So Miss Terry, I'll let you go first, then we'll hear from Mr. Ruffin.
Okay, Your Honor, I've given you most of it. I'll try not to repeat it. She sent us pictures of what she wanted done in the yard, but she told me that somebody would be out there the next day and for me to leave it alone.
Well, you vacated on October 1st and that quote is dated October 3rd.
No,
So
no, she had people out there doing it with us still living in the home.
all right, well, very close in time to the time you left.
It was a month
I didn't see
earlier.
$1,000 worth of repair out there, but maybe to paint it, but all right, so there's that. Now the stove looks like hell. You can clearly find a comparable stove. You got some secondhand model for $600 and mounted it on some rickety 2x4s. That wouldn't have passed code. The city had come in to look at that. They would have not allowed it to happen. That's
It wasn't registered as
220
a
wiring. And then she doesn't know what happened to her stove. She
Her stove was
says
sitting in the
she
dining
didn't
room.
give you, say that again?
The old stove was sitting in the dining room. Because
On my beautiful floors
it wasn't scratched.
that you know of.
All right, so you still got the original stove. Is that correct?
It's now been discarded because it had sat wherever it sat for as many months as it did. So I didn't try to I can't put it back up without a cabinet surrounding it. So
All right, so she took your stove out and replaced it with hers. She said it didn't work. So let's assume it didn't work, and I will assume it didn't work, because why would she junkify it like this if it did work? So she has to buy you a new stove, because she took your stove out. She didn't throw it away. She simply parked it there inside the house. So you threw it away and you want her to buy you a new stove. She also
No.
left her funky $600 stove in there. So there's some compensation to be made, but I'm not sure what the amount is. All right. And they tore the cabinet out of there and threw it out in the backyard where it got warped and water damaged, and then you threw it away. You can't expect her to want to save that cabinet after it was laying out in the yard like that.
You're right, Your
Now-
Honor. I didn't
All right.
expect it, but I did expect to have that so that we could use the dimensions to build a new cabinet.
All right. Now, what about the cleanup?
We would have done the cleanup. The only thing that was done was that pile of the cabinet, and we removed the tire. The camper is a whole different story that I won't get into because it's not part of this case, but it was removed. And the sink was something that was broken when we moved in there, that plastic sink in the outdoor kitchen. And we were told not to replace it because the homeless would just break it again. The only other thing laying there is the umbrella because we were taking down summer stuff.
Yes. The $4,000 quote she got from her contractor includes a bunch of other things that didn't include your cleanup. Now, was there an actual landlord tenant case filed? I didn't see one, or you simply moved out because she requested that you move?
She didn't request. I gave her a 30-day notice and I moved. There was no eviction. There was no nothing.
eviction papers were
Was
already
there-
filed. They were already filed. She moved out before it was finalized.
All right, let me look at it. I didn't find it.
I had stopped the process because she gave me the 30-day notice, and then I knew I was gonna have to wait that 30 days in court anyway, so.
There it is.
And the
No, that's
cleanup
this
was
case.
over 1,000 because of all the weeds that were all the way around my home. I was getting complaints from my neighbors that there were rodents now outside, so that's one of the reasons why I believe my contractor made it so much.
Was there a security deposit?
No, Your Honor,
No.
it was not.
Nope. Because they were
Did
planning
not-
on purchasing at one point and then they failed to do so. That's why a lot of that conversation has been a different in context. So replacing, I was never going to replace the oven because they were going to purchase it. I was never notified it didn't work. I was told that it was small. Yes, it's 24 inches. I made it work for the 6 years I lived there. And even if it didn't heat the same, it was an original model. So if it heated more in the back, I was aware of that. But I made it work the entire time I lived there. But I don't know. And it did not pass code. The new one did not, because I did have to have the city come in, and it is now determined as a rental with the city of Sturgis.
I'm looking at the lease to see if there was a security deposit. And it does not appear that there was one. Rent was $1,400 per month. Where did you get the lease?
I don't know. Honestly, I think it was just an online one. I don't recall, to be honest. It was over a year ago.
I've seen worse, but I've seen better also. I guess it was good enough, but there was no security deposit. All right. Mr. Ruffin, you had something that you wanted to say and I cut you off. I said I'd give you your turn. Well, this is your turn. What did you want to tell me?
I said, I understand the mess. I work 12 hours a day and I got double knee surgery and I'm a little slow at doing a lot of stuff when it comes to doing the housework. That work stopped outside when we took the cabinet out to put the stove in because her stove didn't work well, so we stuck it in the living room for her and we put the new one in. I understand the mess. Yes, the mess was a little slow for me to get to, and I was getting to the yard work too at the same time. Like I said, I work a lot of hours and I have bad knees. Well, they're good knees, but they're bad knees. You understand what I'm saying? I have, and I'm slow at it, but I was going to get to it. I kept trying to say, I'm going to get to the mess, but she had no patience. She sent the guy out and
Well,
cleaned
you
up all
gave
that.
them a 30-day notice to quit, meaning you had 30 days to know when you were
Yes,
going to
sir.
go.
Yes, sir. But all this mess she's talking about was done well before we was going to move out of the house. This was more than 30 days before we was going to move out of the house. This was just before the weather started turning bad. It was still in the late spring, early fall when all this came up with the mess.
Well, I agree with you there. It is a mess, but it's not a $6,000 claim. You took her oven out without her
Yes, sir.
permission and set it aside.
Yes.
Then she chose to throw it away. Um, I believe her. You didn't have her permission to take it out of there, but I also believe you that it didn't work, or you wouldn't have done what you did. And then to put it in correctly would buy her a brand new oven when the oven she had, she still has, but it doesn't work.
Mhm.
So also the cabinets were damaged. I'm going to allow $1,500 for the stove and the cabinets. And $500 for the outside cleanup, which is $2,000. If there was a security deposit, it could have been applied to these sorts of things. So I fine for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. There are court costs of $102.50 for filing fees and a service fee of $115. The total is $2,217.50. Can you make some sort of payment each month on that?
Yes, sir, I can.
Judge McManus wanted everything resolved within 24 months. If we did it in 12 months, it would cost $200 per month. Can you pay $200 per month?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, judgment of pay to the plaintiff in the amount of $2,200 per month starting February 1st, 2026. All right, You make those payments directly to her. Is the Cape Coral address correct, Ms. Metzger,
Yes,
or do
sir.
you have it sent somewhere else?
Nope, Cape Coral address is
All
where
right.
I'm at.
All right, and you guys are in Niles?
Yes.
All right, I find for the plaintiff, not in the amount of $6,000, the amount of $2,000 plus cost, $2,217.50 payable at $200 per month starting February 1st. That would pay this off in approximately 11 months, maybe a little more. All right, this matter is completed. We'll do an order and you'll get a copy of it in the mail. Send the payments directly to the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're both good to go.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. All right. Let's excuse those folks. Now we're at Bittner and Pianowski. Mr. Pianowski, you're in the waiting room or in the, why don't you just come right in the courtroom? It'll be easier for me to see you, and we often use that conference room if there's need to consult with counsel or something else, but let's have an old-fashioned hearing where you're in the courtroom. So come on in.
Can you tell me how to get there?
Yeah, just come out the door and come right here in courtroom C. Go out the door and go to your right.